record. Ok, vamos. Ujú. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. How are you?
Hi,
So,
everyone.
hello. We're about to start this last webinar. We have some new faces here from the staff. I'm Daniela Encina again. I'm the process coordinator here at Startup Chile. I'm the one behind admission and landing with Bali. She is our corporate and alumni manager. And we are here with Vicente and Romina, okay? Vicente is from the expansion team. He's the ventures manager. And we have Romy, which is from the acceleration team, and she is a biz dev, okay? So we are here to answer all of your questions about the playbook, okay? So let's start with the first. This is more like a Q&A, so you will see some questions popping up in your screen, and you will have to answer them so we know if you read or if you haven't read the playbook, okay? And we will have the Q&A and the questions and answers that you may have regarding the playbook for last, okay? So if you are having any questions, please leave them in the chat and we can answer them, okay? So let's go with the first question. So, okay, so this is the one with is, I don't get to see the first. Please leave them in the chat. Which is your answer? It's A, it's B, it's C, or D. When the acceleration program begins, which is actually September 4th, is the next week. B is when the acceleration program ends. C, when the contract is signed by Corfo and you as a beneficiary. Or D, once you get the guarantee policy and the contract is signed by Corfo and you, okay? I'm looking at the chat. I see some, right. Yeah, you read the playbook, okay? That's nice to hear, that's nice to look at. Please, Vali, if you can say to us which one is the right answer. Yes, actually is the D. I see some of the alumni which might actually have something to do with that. But yeah, is once you get the guarantee policy, which actually regards the correct use of the public funds, and the contract, you have it with your sign and the Corfo sign, okay? So let's go to the next and here you can see how the process it's kind of look. You first get your results, we start kind of working with the legal area, and you have for one side the guarantee policy. Don't worry, you will have that information once the program, the acceleration program starts. And in parallel with that, you will have the contract signing, okay? So that's actually it. And then you get the grant deposit, okay? So one important matter is actually that for the foreign suppers, you will have to have your bank account and your ID, okay? So let's go with the next slide. This is for the foreign entrepreneurs. And you can see here, once you have your ID card, then you get your bank account and you can get the grant deposit, okay? This is independent, as you can see, from the acceleration program and the grant report tracking, okay? These steps are actually in parallel, okay? So, yeah. Okay, here I have the question, so I will launch it, okay? No, this is not it. Let me check which is there you go. Okay, so you can now answer the ones that you are having in your screen. And which are the team's leaders' main responsibilities? Okay, so first, execute the formalization acceleration program and grant report tracking. attend the mandatory instances, being Chile during the formalization, acceleration, and until the grant report tracking, or all of the above. Okay, I see that this batch actually learned a lot, actually studied a lot, because all of the answers are correct, okay? I will end the poll and I will share with you, because actually, yeah, it's all of the above. All of you were correct with that answer. I will save that for later. And yes, you have to execute here as the team leader, the formalization, acceleration program, and grant report tracking. You will have to attend the mandatory instances. The next one, Vali, please. The mandatory instances, for example, full build, you can see here are the academies. I don't get to see that very, it's kind of small, but yeah, you will have to get all of the mentorings, the academies, all of the checkpoints event, the checkpoint event, all of the grant report tracking event for the Ignite and for Growth program. If you want to see this in a more HD way, you can look into the playbook again, okay? So yeah, those are the mandatory instances. And then you will have to be in Chile during the formalization acceleration program and until the grant report tracking ends, okay? This timeline is very, very important, and you have to be clear about this, okay? So the acceleration program, which we saw before in the graphic, can take, for Build and Ignite, actually takes 4 months, okay? Full of activities, mentoring, academies. And for the growth program is about 8 months, okay? From the beginning of the program, which is September 4th, okay? And the grant report tracking actually takes Build 4 months, Ignite 6 months, and Growth 12 months, okay? And those are the timelines that are actually in our terms and conditions. That's why we guide you and ask you to read our terms and conditions, okay? And this is from the contract signing form from both parts, okay? Which is Corfo and you, okay? You get the notification letter, and that's when the program starts, okay? So those, as we said before, are not those are parallel, okay? Ones can happen before and the one can happen later, okay? So yeah. Please, if you're having any questions, leave them in the chat, okay? So then I will launch the poll. So I will launch it right now. Let me check. The poll is right here. Stop sharing, and we will be back with when can I start presenting my expenses? Okay, where can I start expending my money and start presenting it? Once the program starts, which is September 4th, for example, you can start presenting your expenses from the next week. Once I get the email you're in, which is actually 2 months ago, see, once you have received the contract, the funds, and get your VisDev approval, or D, once you get the funds. Oh, this one is pretty much divided. Okay, okay. Keep answering, because 20 of you have answered right now. The one that's winning, it's the answer C. Okay, so let's see if you're right. I will end the poll and I will share with you, because this one has a lot of mixed uh, answers. Okay, so let's see which one is the correct one. Vali, please, if you can go to the next slide. Okay, great. Most of you actually answered correctly, which is the answer C, which is the one that you have received the contract, you have received the funds, and then you get the BizDev approval, okay? This is a very, very important matter. Actually, Romy can talk us a little bit more about that if you have any questions about it. Because first of all, you will have to complete the formalization process. You will have to have the grant deposit. You will have to have the guarantee policy. Then you have to receive the funds, and then you will have to have your VSDEF approval, okay, which is the one in the grant report tracking, okay? So the program starts on September 4th. That's right, but you will not get the funds in that date. So you have to keep in mind that you can start spending money once you have received the contract, you have the funds, and get your VSDEF approval. Otherwise, you can incur in some of the expenses that you will not be able to get approved, or by your VSDEF, for example, or by the financial tracking team, okay? So yes, that's the grant report tracking. You have first the technical process, and then you get the financial process, okay? You have that with the cowork, and then you have the financial approval by Corf. Yes. Thank you, Vali. So I will stop sharing this one in the communication channels. So which communication channels do you need to use? First of all is the Google Calendar, email, Slack, Zappers Online, and WhatsApp. B, email, Slack, and WhatsApp groups. Or C, email is the only channel that you need to stay tuned. Okay, that's most of you are actually correct. I'm saying that maybe you haven't read that part yet, because that's in the last part of the playbook. I think that okay, I have internet now. I got kind of lagged. Okay, there you go. So yes, most of you, I think, that haven't get to that part of the playbook, because only 16 of you answered. So Buddy is pretty sad about that. Let's see. But yeah, most of you answered correctly. You have to stay tuned to your Google Calendar, because all of the instances are kind of scheduled in the Google Calendar. Your email is pretty important, because if you do not answer us in your email, you can incur in a warning, okay? You have to stay tuned to your Slack and Zappers Online and WhatsApp groups, okay? So if you don't have your calendar added to yours, please just scan this QR code, and you can get into the calendar of Build, Ignite, and the Growth Program, okay? If you're in the Growth Program, you have to scan the Growth Program, okay? Not the Build and the Ignite one, okay? You have to scan only your generation QR code, okay? So let's go to the next slide, please, Vali. You have to stay tuned to the WhatsApp groups, really. The big 8 startup till the official one is the ones with the staff have to communicate, when the staff had to communicate something or remind you of something, some instance, some events. And the community one, it's actually without the sub staff, and there you can, for example, just ask whatever really that you like, okay? That's peer-to-peer communication. Okay, and the next one, Vali, please. You have to stay tuned to the Slack workplace. This is a great opportunity with reminders, opportunities, peer-to-peer communication. You have the staff there. Just look into that, and you have to select the big 8, okay? That's not, you have to select big 8, Ignite 8, or Growth 8, okay? And join the channel, okay? And then you have to be very, the Suppers Online is actually kind of the one that we have all of the information and are kind of all of that we can give you. It's actually in the Suppers Online, okay? You can just start navigating in there. You have networks, connection, learning materials, all about the penalties and all of that you may need regarding the program, okay? So I will just launch the next question, which is which networks and resources can I have access to as a supper? Okay. Can I have a connection with networks, mentors, corporate, local ecosystem, venture, alumni, present media, perks and supporting partners, or V co-work, space for 5 members of the team, including the team leader, C, office hour with the soft stuff, or D, all of the above? Okay, you actually got to read to that part because most of you answer correctly. Okay, so I will end the poll and share the results. Because most of you were actually correct. All of the above actually are the networks that you can have access to. Okay, you can have our space in the cowork, you can have our networks, and you can have office hour with the sub stuff. That's why it's very important for you to get to log into the QR code of the Sabres Online, because you can access all of this uh, via Sabres Online, okay? So yes, all of the above. You can have the networks, the co-work, and the office hour, as I said before, when the program starts, okay? By September 4th, you can start accessing all of this. If you don't follow the rules established, though, in the terms and conditions, your access to network resources or co-work even can be canceled, okay? So be very mindful of the warnings that you may have earned by now, okay? Great. So the next one is a very important question, actually, which is when do I become an alumni? Which is when the acceleration program ends, once the grant report tracking is completed and all of the expenses are approved by Corfo, or once the contract is signed by Corfo and you. Okay, so this is very important. And why is important? Because sometimes we have we have had some of the suburbs that thinks that once the acceleration program ends, okay, I'm good to go. I don't have anything to do with you. We do not have anything to be. We don't have why. Why do I need to be here? Actually, you become an alumni. I will end the poll because I'm not liking actually the results. It's B, once the grant report tracking is completed and all the expenses are approved by Corfo, okay? It's not when the acceleration program ends because you are still executing with us, okay? You have the formalization, the acceleration program, and the grant report tracking. As you can see here, the program ends really for you once the grant report tracking ends, okay? Once you have um, your expenses approved by Corfo, okay? And once the contract is signed by Corfo and you're actually start being a beneficiary to Corfo, okay? So that's not when you become an alumni, okay? That's actually quite the opposite, okay? And very, very important, you can continue having the network and resources only if you perform successfully your formalization, acceleration program, and grant report tracking. And if you have an incredible performance during the program, you will be cataloged as an outstanding alumni, having priority and exclusive access to our opportunities, which actually you can look into in our Sabres Online, okay? So we have now time for questions. Please, if you're having any questions, if you're having any doubts about the program, about the playbook, I know the playbook is actually, it's a lot of information. I don't know if you were able to read all of that in these days, in this last week. But yeah, if you're having any questions, please just, you can, maybe Vali, if you can stop sharing your screen so we can I can look into the faces of everyone. Okay, perfect. So just here, Guido has a question. Can we leave during the weekends outside Chile to travel without permission? Okay, I would like to Romy to answer that question because actually a really good question, and then we will look into the other questions. So Romy, please.
Yes. Okay, so can you hear me? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, you can go outside. You can do whatever you want on the weekend, but it is important that if you're leaving for 1 week in a row, you let your business know, because it's very different to go, I don't know, to another city, to the coast for the weekend and just have fun and then come back on Monday, than going for 2 weeks to another country or 3 weeks or whatever. So it's very important that you let us know about those kind of trips.
Okay, great. Thank you, Romy. And the second question is, can our co-founders that are not team leaders be outside of Chile, right? Okay, so this question actually have kind of two sides. Yes, your co-founders can be outside of Chile, but if the co-founders that you actually apply with are not here in Chile, and you do not bring them here to Chile, you cannot present those salaries regarding the expenses. Okay, so that's why we ask you in the landing process if you need to come here with anyone else from the application form, because otherwise, if they do not have a route, for example, you will not be able to present them as an expense. Okay, great, Guido. So let's go. I don't know, Romy, if you want to.
Yes, I
Mhm.
always recommend that if you actually have your co-founders subscribed into the form, like the application form, that you bring that person to Chile. It is very important for us because usually what happens is that we arrive into the month 6 or month 5, and they tell us like, oh, now I want to pass the salary of my co-founder, and it's like, no, you cannot do it now because you didn't bring him here. So it is very important that if you want to do it, you clear that out now, and you come with your co-founder, get the root number, and then we can pass your salary and your co-founder salary. Otherwise it is impossible.
Great. Thank you. That's actually in our terms and conditions, so be very mindful of that. So we have another question here, which is regarding the bank account. Okay, I will answer that. Can it be a remote bank account from Chile, or does it have to be from a Chilean bank account? Okay, this question again has a lot of kind of uh, I don't know. It has a lot of topics in it, but I don't know if the question is regarding using the bank account or is regarding getting the funds. Because to get the funds, you'll have to have a Chilean bank account, which is actually a cuenta corriente, and that you have to have kind of a special type of bank account which can allow the flow that you will be getting. Okay, so 50 million, 30 millions, and 75 million, which not every bank account can access or can admit that kind of flow in one payment. Okay, so please, if any of you have a bank account, which are, for example, if any of you are a natural person or you need a bank account, please let me know at daniela@startupchile.org, and I can help you getting a bank account for your, for example, if you're a natural person, I can help you with that. And if you're a company, I can help you getting a bank account with the BCI bank to get all of that flow going and to get the funds. Okay. So, Trinidad asked, how can we move forward with the guarantee? That again, as I said before, the guarantee, all of regarding the guarantee is actually in the Sabers Online. You can start looking into that, but you will not be able to get a guarantee if I do not send you the document that actually had all of your information. Once you are kind of formalized, once you all of your background is in the legal Corfo area, you will be able I will be able to get you a formulario de solicitud, which is a form that can get you the quotation, okay? But for all of that, there will be deadlines, there will be all of the information you need, okay? So don't worry about it. That's about 2 weeks from the September 4th, okay? So don't worry about it right now. You can start looking into the Sappers Online, but you will not be able to get a quote if you don't have the form, okay? So yes, that's about it. Okay, Trinidad asked, we are 4 co-founders, but specifically me, as the team leader, do not live in Santiago. Can we set up shift to cover all instances or in-person meeting? Do I need always to be present? Okay, I will think that Romy and actually Vicente from the expansion team and Romy from the acceleration team can answer these questions regarding the events. Okay, so I would like to Vicente start from the expansion team, and then Romy, you can just kind of go into the more detail of the acceleration program.
Wonderful, thank you, Danny. Yeah, that's right. I think when it comes to expansion, the expansion activities, we have mainly those that are related to the academies, and the academies are these instances that are placed there to help you to like level up some knowledge gaps and to connect with other with the speakers, like for opportunities to learn more from them, or also to get some insights and also make useful connections. And to make that happen, or to realize that objective, you have to be in person. So for the academies, I'm afraid you have to be here, even if you are not currently living on a permanent basis in Santiago. So yeah, we have plenty of cases that founders that have been traveling over the acceleration program to meet the requirements of being there for the academy. So the quick answer is yes, you have to be here.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so just to add something, so when you sign the contract with Corfo, you are making a compromise. You're making yourself compromise to be in Chile for the whole execution period. That's why we ask you to tell us when are you traveling, so we can know that, and no red flags will be like hanging from Corfo. But it is very important that you have very clear that you will have to live here for the whole execution period. And usually, if I am very honest with you, there we have been in past generations where entrepreneurs leave the country, and that's a huge problem for us. It will be a huge problem for you, and we don't want that to happen. Remember, this is a public fund. This is a fund that comes from all the Chilean people. So we trust in that when you sign the contract, you're compromised to get into the Chilean market, and for that you will have to be here. And for that, the team leader has to be here and not the team members. You don't have to do the shifts, because the compromise it is made with the team leader and not with the team members. Okay. And yes, if you have any like a health problem or something like that, of course we understand it, and a team member can come, but that's something very, very specific from some moments, but not all the times making shifts and those kind of things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. So let's keep going with, is it possible to add team members at this stage? No. As we said before in the last webinars, all of that kind of written in the application process, it's what the legal area and Corfo actually gets at understand. Okay, you cannot change your application. Okay, so the next one is, how can I know if I'm okay with all the legal documents uploaded? Rodrigo, if I have not ask you for any other documents, you're good to go. If I have asked you for more documents, it's because the legal area is asking me to get any other background. Okay, so if the legal area asks me to ask you to get more information about anything about your company, about the, for example, the amounts that you may have regarding that company and all of that, I will be the one that get to you. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay. So Joaquin is asking if the fund was awarded to a natural person, but then a company was created. Can the guarantee be managed by the company? Okay, that's a very, very important question, and I will like Romy actually to help me with that in regarding the creating the company. First of all, if you apply it as a natural person, Corfo will see you as a natural person once the contract, for example, when we get the funds, the guarantee, and the bank account, and all of that, Corfo will see you as a natural person, okay, not as a company. Okay, you can create your company between the application and right now and the start of the program, but Corfo will not acknowledge that company. Okay, so Romy can actually help you as a VSTEP. Not Romy, she is the only one. Okay, you will have a VSTEP from when the program starts, and they will help you to get your company approved by Corfo. So Romy can actually say to you which are the, for example, the papers that you may need for that, and that she will present that to Corfo, and then Corfo will give you the approval or not. Okay, be very mindful of that, because Romy can actually tell you about, for example, making expenses as a company once it's not approved by Corfo. Okay, so Romy, maybe you can
Yes.
just explain a
I'm
little
just
bit.
thinking about the easiest way to explain this. So in regards the guarantee policy, and when like you will pay it, I recommend you to pay it by the person that you applied as. So if you applied as a natural person, pay it as a natural person. If you applied as a company, pay it as your company. Okay, because when we started all the grant report tracking process, you can write your business and subscribe your business or your company as a co-beneficiary. And with that, we can approve expenses made by the company, okay? But usually, the startups subscribe their companies after the guarantee policy is paid, you know? So that's why I recommend you to do that part as you applied, like the person that you applied as. Um, and then the expenses that you're gonna make, you can pass it through your company if you subscribe it as a co-beneficiary, and that's only if Corfo approves it, because you have to make the company subscribe it after you applied into the program. So we will receive your application, we will send it to the legal Corfo area. They will say to us if they approve it or not, and it will take maybe some time to get the approval, you know. So that's why I always recommend you to stick into the person that you actually applied as. And then if we get the approval, you start spending the money with the co-beneficiary if you want to. So yes, that's pretty much it. And the expenses that can be approved as the co-beneficiary are only the ones that you made since the day that you requested the approval to your business. Okay, that's the day we count on if everything goes well. Okay, so that's why everything guarantee and everything like landing processes and guarantee, pay it as the person as you apply to. That's my recommendation.
Great. Thank you, Romy. So I have a couple questions here that are actually in the same, for example, they go to the same place. So this is the first one is, do we have a schedule for the orientation day? Where can I find if it exists? And Nicolas is asking if orientation day it's in person. Okay, you can find in the playbook, and as we shared here in the presentation, you can find your generation calendar. Okay, so if you are from the build program, you have to add that calendar to your personal or your company calendar, and if you're from the Ignite program, and so on. Okay, yes, we have a schedule for the orientation day. You can look into an orientation week. Actually, you can look into that in your calendar. Okay, and do we have a calendar so I can organize for the next months? Okay, the same is for the for example, the academies, all of the boards, all of the meetings, and all of that will be added to your calendar. Okay, to your generation calendar, and then to your own calendar. Okay, so don't worry about it. We have the instances that are actually scheduled are in your calendar. Okay, so I think, for example, for academies, it's the only on Wednesday or only on Friday, for example, for a 2 hours block, and those are actually in your calendar already. Okay, and if it's in person, it's kind of scheduled in person meeting. Okay, or in person or mandatory, and you have to be very mindful of that, because if it says mandatory, it's actually mandatory, and you might be penalized if you do not attend. Okay, so Trinidad was asking, for example, she was the one that asked if she can make shifts with her coworkers, because she lives in Chile, but she's not from Santiago. Okay, so she is from, for example, any region. And yes, well, the answer is the same one. If the, for example, if the instance or the event is scheduled as an team leaders only mandatory, you have to be there as a team leader in person. Okay, so yes, the Google Calendar is at the page 36 on the playbook. Thank you, Victor. Yes, the calendar is in that page in your playbook. Adriana is asking, hello, I'm a bit confused about the dates of the SAP Academy sessions that the founding team must attend. Could you clarify which ones are for them? I do not understand your question.
I think Adriana maybe understood that the team has to go to the academies, but our commitment is with the team leader always. So everything that is in your calendar and everything that we ask you to is only with the team leader. Maybe there are some instances where we ask you to, I don't know, bring your CDO or those kind of things, or be free to bring any team member, but that's something we will tell you. But everything that is in your calendar is for the team leader, mandatory instances, or maybe optional, but with the team leader always.
Okay, thank you. I think that actually, Vali, please, if you can answer this question, because Francesca is asking, do we have parking available either for payment to attend the activities? At our co-work, I will think that
Yeah,
the
you don't have, sorry. So the cowork is near the metro station, Bellas Artes. So there is no problem with the mobilization. You can arrive by metro or public transport. It's okay too. But also for you to know, the cowork do have a parking lot. It's external to the building, but you have to pay it yourself. Or I don't know, Rami, if they can present it as an expense later. In the No, that's not an option. Okay,
no.
so yeah, those are the options.
Yes, and actually Max is saying that they have a parking for bikes. So maybe you can start using your bike that's
Yeah,
in
that's
your
right.
parking lot,
Right.
maybe in your garden. Okay, so but the orientation week, can we go with our co-founders, right? Okay, be very mindful of that, because if in the calendar says team leaders only, it's for team leaders only. Okay, the description you have to read that in the events, because it can say you can go with your co-founders and all of that. We have in our cowork actually kind of a restricted amount of people that can stay in the cowork. So please, if you want to go with your co-founders, I cannot guarantee you that you can go with them, but if you are planning to do so, please let us know at admission so we can give you an answer, okay? But if it says team leaders only, it's for team leaders only, okay? That's about the occupancy of the cowork really related to.
Yes. Something, Danny, that I wanted to ask to say about that in the acceleration program, that's like I won't count the orientation week, because for the orientation week we have some specific like kind of things for team leaders, and it's very restrict about the kind, like all the people that one will come, because we are many people. But for other instances that we will have, you can ask your BizDev if you can bring a team member, and we will let you know. Like we will tell you yes or no, and that's pretty much how it works. Always the team leader, and then if you want to bring someone specific about a topic, or if you see an academy that can help a person that is very specific, then you write us, and we would just let that happen. You know.
Yes, thank you, Romy. That's actually very, very insightful. So, Fabian was asking the same question, and Rebecca is asking, is there any link or info about the parking? Thanks. I will say that not about the parking proper specific about the parking, but in the soft landing process, in that you can check into that, and in the accommodations, I will think you can look into all of the comments that our alumni, which are foreign, actually kind of make their lives regarding all of the surroundings of the cowork. Okay, so they can actually, it says that you are near the metro, for example. You can, it actually sets a couple things about that, bikes, parking, and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking that we don't have any more questions. Do you have any more questions? Is there any more questions? Please, this is your last chance before the program starts. Okay, so if we can look if we can look each other faces in person. So please, if you're having any more questions, I will say no. Okay, no. Okay, so thank you very much, all of you, for being here. Can't wait to meet you all. Can another person but the team leader pitch? Okay, that's a great question. Maybe in some events. Okay, I think Vicente maybe can answer that question.
Yeah, well, I think that the principle is the same regarding the other activities. We always look forward to the team leader being the person that participates in all these activities. And so under certain circumstances, it will be feasible to do it, but they will be quite restrictive. So the advice, and more than the advice, the requirement for us is to always look for the team leader to take part on these activities. So yeah, again, it's the same principle.
Okay.
Yes, and something else, I'm laughing a lot about Squad, because they're telling Donald that he will be the face of them. So something next week we will let you know who your BizDev is, and everything that you have like about any doubt, or if you're, I don't know, having some health problem or anything that you have, you write to your BizDev. Okay, that's the person who will be your best friend during the program, and that's pretty much how we get all the information through the team, and everyone knows and stay aware of what you are up to and who is coming to the activities and everything. Okay, so yes, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Romy. Regarding that last comment, do you have any last insight or recommendation for, we are 1 week to go, so you do have any last recommendation for these suppers?
I will recommend you to read the playbook, and I know that it's really hard because probably we use some words that are very specific and those kind of things, but bring on all your questions next week and really use your BizDev And what else? I will recommend you to be very organized with the expenses. That's very important for you and for us. And that's the way that we won't have any problem, okay? And yes, that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Vicente, any last words?
No, I would just add to what Romina just said. I think you have to be really meticulous and well organized with your demands, because there will be plenty, mostly from your business itself, but from us in order to help you to make your business a success. So yeah, bring all the energy, and we will be here to help you.
Okay, thank you, Romy and Vicente, for being here, for accompanying us, and thank you all, suppers. See you next week, okay? So, thank
Thanks,
you.
Danny.
Great to
Thank
see you
Thank
guys.
you all.
See you, and
Bye.
You.
bye bye.
you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.